Yo, what up? I haven't freestyled in a while. It's been a minute. And I'm going to go from now until the 10th of an infinite amount of time, whatever that could be. I can prove it because rapidly I'm improving myself in a new capacity, and I have the audacity to come up with rhymes rapidly, and I'm going to shoot them out like I just packed the heat and I was about to explode it. And heat and exploding are things that also relate to each other, and trust me, it's something that can be strange to another person that doesn't rap all the time, that doesn't isn't cursed with this curse that just makes you want to spit curse words and just want to get the words out like it was fucking polluting your body, like it was fucking trying to get over the cigarette smoke addiction or trying to get something out of yourself, and you just hope that people witness what you can do because it's also a talent, but at the end it's something you gotta find a way to cope with it. Like the words are always exploding in your mind. It's like you need to fucking rap all the time, and if you don't, then you're gonna lose the style and the fucking practicalities of being a person that happens to be an inventor of rhyming, and both of those things in one that just happens to be different letters. It's like switching the vowels around, and Adam is somebody who can beat the vowels out of somebody who wants the shit beaten out of them, and that's just the way I do is, I come up with new lines and I just start unrolling them, and then it's just going to start pulling them, and then I'm going to fucking use their body as a pole vault, and then I can go pole vaults. I can jump over the fucking bridges that people throw at me, that they say that Adam can't get past this part of this peak of this life that hasn't happened yet because Adam is stuck at this part and he ain't gonna make it over the hedge. Well, then I did it without watching a fucking cartoon movie about a bunch of animal critters that wanted to go over that place, and they ended up getting over there because guess what happened? One of their heads got stuck in the place that it couldn't get out of it because it was a bunch of flowers and around of it, and then there was a big fucking animal guard in the house, and then guess what they had to do? They had to hide from it, and then there was a heightened security system that was trying to keep them off their survival kit, but then guess what happened? Is they adapted, and that's how they get around, and then the time of that point was the climax of the movie, and then they arrived, and then guess what happened? They happened to get around all the obstacles in their fucking situation, and they were just a bunch of little critters. I saw that movie years ago, and now I'm referencing it in a freestyle because that's what Adam does. Is he's wild. He comes up with things that no one else would have thought of, and guess what? It creates some things that might seem strange and out of fucking place, but that's what happens. Is I can bring anything that was from here to outer space, and I can bring it into the space-time continuum and charge them up together and bring them into the same conversation, and then something that never would have happened if it wasn't for Adam. No other exceptions coming up from this point of the time, because Adam Stark is referencing things that wouldn't have otherwise been referenced from any other person or perspective that came out of any other professor's mouth, or trying to give a lecture or a lesson or whichever. If they were combining them both and combined it to make the same measure, it doesn't work because it didn't come from somebody with essence, somebody who hasn't been fucking freestyling their whole life, and they just didn't give it the effort that I have given. Because yes, I get it, they have fucking qualifications and standards, and they probably get paid a million times more than I do. I get it, but guess what? I can rhyme, dude, and I can come up with crazy rhymes that you wouldn't be able to think of if you had more than a couple hundred dimes more than I did. And if you even have the ability to find the buried treasure and find it, and then you try to find a place for yourself to hide it, I could rhyme so much that it would cover more than footsteps that it would take for me to actually find it. That's how many rhymes I've created with it, and guess what? I'm just amazing with it. The rhymes come on out, I can create a new haven with it. There is a place that I can find that's going to be safer than a safe is with it. Like fucking, what's safe? What is more impenetrable than that? What is a better defense that you cannot find anything that won't detonate it flat? You can't fucking drop it from the top of a cliff and it won't break open. That's like the way my rhymes are created. Is just there is just no way to get around them, because I just prove that everything coming around me that's gonna even fucking surround the heat. I can just fucking get anything that you want to compound at me, and you want to try and run me over with something, and guess what? I'm down for beef, and it's just, that's what I'm saying is nobody's going to get around me because I'm not playing, bitches. It's just like I said, I can come up with anything at the top of the moment, and then guess what? I'm going to drop it on opponents, and it's just, I'm coming up with new crazy things. I'm cropping all the things that you want to get around me, because I'm just going to be as evil as the people that just astound me, the people that surround me with all their fucking hatred, and it's all pessimistic. But guess what? Adam Stark is a representative of everything that's coming from this hip-hop shit that hasn't been destroyed by the other fucking horrid representatives, the people that are on the mainstream and the corporate side of hip-hop in today's world. Because back then it was something, it was a very great world. It was a great world. It was an optimistic time because rappers and rhymes actually made sense, and it wasn't a bunch of faggot shit that wasn't a quoting to anything, which to me is like a crime. If you are able to rhyme, you should at least do it well. But what I think has happened is, I think there was an evil spell that was dispersed and used onto all the people of today that come up with rhymes that aren't famous, and then the people that are great get no fucking views like I don't, because that's what happens is, my mind won't let me convert to being a lobotomized retard that comes on the mic and just a couple of 2-3 words a sentence, and their verses only last a couple of fucking seconds, and then guess what? It gets spins and spins and spins on the radio like it's got its own reference point, like the solar system is, where the fucking sun and the moon and the earth is only close enough to the point where, guess what, it would have been burnt if it was any closer, and if it was any farther, then there wouldn't have been enough oxygen to give this fucking flames that we harbor from the sun is enough for us to feed off of and get oxygen off of, and it was enough for us to survive. But if we were, one fucking little mile away difference, then guess what, we would have died. We wouldn't have been able to exist in the first place. And that's an amazing, amazing, amazing fucking hell of a lucky moment that we happened to live in that part of it, because if it wasn't, then guess what would have happened? We would have died a long time ago, and we wouldn't even be able to start the shit that I'm starting right now, because I just start everything in the fucking top of a hat, and guess what? I can fucking flip the cap off of my hat, and I can do that if I wanted to. I don't have a hat on, but if I did, I would have done it. Then you would have been astounded to see what I just did, and if you didn't, then guess what? You would have not been looking at the moment, and you didn't catch it in your eyes and in your vision. You would have been looking away for a second while you were listening to me rap like, yes, honey, what is it? But then you didn't look at me when I was doing the track that I was trying to show you, which is very exquisite, and it was an experiment, and it was somebody showing you that I could do something that it didn't take experience, like I could fucking flip the hat off of my fucking head and it would land on my elbow or something, and guess what? That would be a hat trick. And then I could throw the hat off of my head, land on my elbow, and score 3 pucks in a game of hockey, and that would also be a hat trick. That's a fucking double meaning. I just came up with that in the moment because that's what I do. I'm crushing things every time because you know this. You know Adam Stark's history. He's coming up with great shit, and guess what? I can make anything happen because when it isn't a mystery, when it is something that's always been solved, because you already know that Adam Stark has dope rhymes, and these type of things don't dissolve. These things fucking stay out away from everything that, gets harmed, from all the things that people throw in these operations that they try and get on. They try, operation, let's destroy Adam Stark, let's leave hateful, mean comments on stuff and make sure that he doesn't hard, like, make sure that we crush his spirit and his heart, even though half of these fucking accounts, nobody knows who they fucking are, because guess what? They're probably fucking shills or people that don't even have real faces in their profile pics. They just got things where it's like a question mark or a blank face or the default one that they just got shown there with, and that's all it is. It's a bunch of, foolishness, stupid bitches that make stupid moves, more stupid moves than that stupid actor did, the one that was playing Star Trek in a very hopeful role of Spock, and the next time we saw him, he made an appearance and he fucking slapped a kid. That was the truth. That was fucking accurate. If you ever seen that shit, he played fucking Spock, and then what did he do? All of a sudden, what he did was make a mock of what he did before, because the next time I saw him, it was a fucking show, and he just slapped a kid. That what I said was the truth. It was accurate, and I couldn't believe it. I was amazed, and it was something so immaculate. It was something stupid. I couldn't believe what he did, and the fact that it was on TV, and it was a movie to a show, and it was something that didn't last long. I'm pretty sure that they fucking canceled it. I haven't checked, but I'm just saying, it's like, how stupid can you make these moves when you have a prominent role in something great that everybody fucking loved and it ruled, and then all of a sudden you go doing something that was stupid. It's like, you need to go back to school. If you're going to make moves like that with your career, then you might as well just fucking sit down and just watch yourself drool. Like, I mean, you're just wasting your fucking talent. That's all I'm trying to say, is you shouldn't have it. I mean, if you can't switch your ways around, then how are you going to get founded? How are you going to be astounded with the work that you did before that you thought was so profound, when you didn't see what you were doing was whack, and it didn't mean nothing. It was just Adam Stark was showing you that everything you did just seemed like bluff, and it was, it wasn't nothing buff, it wasn't nothing tough, it wasn't nothing rough, it wasn't nothing that had contained any harsh stuff. It was just stupidness. It was, I'm being rude with this. I'm just trying to prove that I can beat anyone's ass, and I will clean up the mess without a broom for this. I can just do whatever I want to, because I hate these stupid bitches that whine and just don't do nothing but drink wine and then just get itself in time and time again. They just ruin their life, and they're not doing anything with it. They're not showing that they have talents, that they got things outside of the fact that they work, sleep, and eat, and they could do other shit. They could prove that they could be unique compared to everybody else. All of us compared on the mothership. I mean, that's just an example. It's a metaphorical interpretation. But Adam Stark, the person that is not deserving the hatred that he gets, because I only rap better than 99% of the people that actually exist in this fucking earth, and I'm not including the dead legends. Otherwise, you can put me in the bottom 1%. I'd have no problem with that, because the dead legends of rapper happen to be amazing at that. Everybody that's living, I'm just saying, most of them, they're not better than Adam, but people that are dead, I do agree. I am nowhere near with the fact that they are very talented more than I am, and the fact that I should be closer to fucking Saturn as far as Earth concerned, is because, yes, their rhymes were amazing and very, very, very refurbished, and they happen to be clean as a fucking, brand new thermos, and I know I said some weird shit. That's what I always do. You know this from me. I can say things that are not falling through, that they're actually, it's a plan that will fall through, but I can also say stuff that doesn't always calm you. It gets you excited, it gets you heated, it gets you into another point of a dimension that you didn't want to be in. Like all of a sudden you wanted to think and hear some rhymes that made you just get excited and it made you want to jump around, but then all of a sudden you listen to Adam Stark and holy shit, I got to put my finger and my thumb on my chin now, and then I got to listen to see what is he going to do. Maybe I shouldn't stand, I should sit down and then listen to what he's going to say, because is he going to say something that is astounding? Is he going to say something that's going to get me mounted on the point of I'm going to leap to a higher level of intelligence because I'm going to listen to the stuff that he says, and it isn't amazing because isn't it amazing? Because Adam Stark is going to say some crazy stuff that's going to get you away from everything else that people try to place you on top of, because they want you to stay at this part of life. They don't want you to think a second of it. They want you not to be critical of anything that you see on TV that people say in public. They want you to stay at this point low. They don't want you to be above the cut of the rest. But that's what you got to do, is you got to become a cut above the rest, because if you don't, then what you're going to do is lay down in a puddle of your fucking flesh, and you're going to be one hell of a fucking mess. You're not going to learn that you can improve yourself like I did. I became somebody great with my rhymes, kid, and just imagine if I didn't. Imagine if I would have stayed this person that thought, I could never be anything great with my one talent that I have, and otherwise Adam Stark would have been, laying in a fucking pool of blood, and he wouldn't have anything to grasp. He would just be sitting there, 10 years from now, 20 years from whatever, whining because the past is still in the past. I'm still living it today, is what I would say if it was in the future and I was looking back at myself and the shit that wasn't great it would be what I would be saying if it was that would have been the case. But this isn't the case, because the case is that I learned from my past that I could have done better in the future, and then guess what I did? Because I learned how to look up a few words and learned how to, converse and learn how to put some verses together, and then it flocked like birds of a, say it, feather. I want you to predict the line. Hopefully you did, and if you didn't, then I'm sorry. I just try to give you a hopeful little hint just so you could predict the rhyme too, and then we could do this together. It'd be like a cooperative little compilation that we did, just getting this shit meshed in different words that we try to get it, because it's stronger than anything that could have ever been made by anybody in the mainstream rap outlet today, because they're about to get paid a fucking painful ass whooping, because that's what Adam Stark has always been about. Because he's a badass cooking motherfucker that's gonna cook up some beef, and even if you weren't in the mood for it, even if you were a vegetarian or you were just someone who was too full, or you just wanted to make sure that you didn't get around the food that he's got, because what Adam Stark would do is he would force feed it to you like he's got a spoon. He's gonna fucking throw it in a tube, and then he's gonna put it down you, and you're gonna have to eat it like you're having some insure and you were in the hospital and you were insured to get that stuff inside of you, because Adam Stark is one of the fucking top motherfuckers. He's a crazy proprietor of this motherfucking movement of rappers who come up with great amount of enlightened words. Enlightened can also mean in a bad way. It doesn't have to mean enlightening as in it lifts your spirits up. It can also mean Adam Stark is one of the purest motherfuckers that comes on the rhyming in this verse, and I can move my hand in weird movements. You're going to notice that when you watch this, because Adam Stark is somebody who knows everything. He is pure lucrative with the words that he uses, and you're going to see that this is one of the things that you're not going to understand until you're older, because we are used to it. The people that are cut from this cloth, you're not going to Adam Stark is somebody that's you are going to go against, and you think you're going to win, but then when you get your ass kicked, you're going to think that you got ripped off. You're going to think, holy shit, I had a sure plan. I thought was going to beat his ass in a rap battle, and then you went against him, and then guess what happened? You got your ass slapped backwards so fucking fast that it hurt so fucking fast that you hit the grass, and then all of a sudden the grass started, reoccurring what it was doing when it was first being planted, which means you got laid into the dirt in a place that it was planted. And I'm not talking about plants. When I say that it was planted, I'm saying that it was a place where it was, and it was, made to be part of the farmer's fucking land, that it was made because it was getting cut across with the fucking combine, that you had to wax the shit, because that's what you do when you're a farmer. You work hard and you do go through all the different actions, and you don't have a day off when you live that type of life, because if you did, then guess what? Your whole plants are ruined, and then you wouldn't be able to sell crops, you wouldn't be able to make a living, and that's what happens when I whip your ass. I just give you an ass whooping, and then I teach you a lesson about some life that you're not living, because you live in an urban environment, and that's what happens, because you're going to learn from where I have went in my lifetime, and that's what happens, because when I write rhymes, or when I recite rhymes, or when I just freestyle and come up with some very dope, top of the line rhymes, then you're going to get beat your ass 9 out of 9 times. You thought I was going to say 9 out of 10, but guess what? Because when I rhyme, I'm convinced that I'm going to beat your ass every single fucking time. Unless you're one of the guys that is a legend and a real legend from the past, then I will admit it, I wouldn't be able to beat you. Like, for example, Method Man, the Wu-Tang Clan, anybody out of that cloth, or anybody that, was like KRS-One or Nas or Eminem or one of those other rap gods. I'm just saying it because those are the people that I respect. Rakim and Biggie and all the other dead guys, of course. I'm going to mention that too because of all sorts of rappers that were rhyming that were dope. And then you got any number of unfortunate actions that happened to those great rappers. But as far as the fucking mainstream rappers today, I hate them all, but I respect a few underground ones that are great, and I respect 75 to 80% of the ones that were in the old school from the past. And you know that because they can fucking rap and they would whoop some fucking ass, and you better believe that they would come up fast and they would come up with rhymes that were greater than this fucking grasp of hatred of reality that I have for today's what you would call upper class of rappers. They fucking suck. They're terrible. They shouldn't have a fucking limelight in the fucking eyesight of this rhyme, right? I mean, fucking I couldn't see them coming with fucking hindsight. I couldn't see them if I was looking at the number one brand of ketchup bottle and it was Heinz in sight, and it was a hindsight. It was I'm trying to do a metaphor at the time of the moment because that's what I do. I just rhyme right, or sometimes I rhyme in the middle or neutral. It's not going to be a rhyme wrong, but I will say something wrong in the sense that you didn't want to hear it because you wanted me to be whack. You wanted me to say something that you would only hear on one of these whack new rapper songs, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to rhyme the way that I want to rhyme because I'm going to rhyme in a way that's going to beat your ass, and it's so fucking far that you're going to be on the other side of the earth. And if you weren't, then guess what happened? I didn't do my job, and then I didn't learn from what I was supposed to learn from, which was the pain that I have earned, the pain that I have burned off, and the pain that I have made because I've made a living beating people's asses and taking their fucking money and their names like I was Bernie Madoff. And I was just one of these people that just look at all the money I made off of it. Guess what? An astounding zero. Why? Because I do it for free. Because this is my talent. I want to be remembered and not rich from it. Rich in a different sense that I will be rich like in Mother Teresa rich, as in I never made a dime for my actions, but I did get remembered for what I did, which was a greater way to be remembered from. And that's just, in my personal opinion, you don't have to agree with it. That's okay because we're two different people. We don't have to see eye to eye in this agreement, which was not signed. It was not something that was on contract. It was not something that we had to look at and we had to read it together and then we had to put our name where the dotted line is at. I just come up with the rhyme that was crazy and I just got him back like it was a fucking revenge tactic. And Adam Stark is someone who has been savage, and I'm just going to get these crazy motherfucking unbelievable 99 to the 10th power of actions. I can fucking come up with something crazy you never would have thought of, something that never would have came to your mind. I just fucking took a pen out of my side, and instead of writing a rhyme, I wanted to carve it on the side of your fucking forehead, and then guess what happens? I made 4 more heads. I do a drawing on the back of your skull and made sure that it looked like it was right, and then guess what? I did it wrong, so I had to actually try and erase it. Then I realized it was a pen, so it wouldn't work, and then it left a bad taste in my mouth, not not metaphorically, not physically, but literally, because then what I had to do was go back, in fact, and I had to scribble it, I had to make sure I got the picture looking just right. I did that all while you were unconscious, so imagine how much it hurt when you woke up from that ass whooping. You better believe your damn ass right that when you woke up you were scratching yourself like, what the fuck happened to me? Then you realize, oh my god, Adam happened to me. You ran into a guy who was a crazy motherfucker who has given you ass whoopings from lyrics all this time because you were one of the haters that were trying to make a come up and on dissing me on my name and dissing my entire franchise and dissing my entire catalog. But then when this cat comes along, guess what? This cat'll log you with a fucking huge tree branch, and that's what's going to happen is you would BWAG, and then you were going to get sprayed on by this motherfucker. Like I had a couple of bottles of these free ranches, and I would just fucking spraying them on you because that's what Adam does. He just relapses. He comes up with the crazy rhymes at the middle of the moment that you wouldn't ever have heard from any other motherfucking opponent. Nobody else in the entire lane of history in human existence would you ever have heard a crazy ass rhyme that you heard from Adam Stark as a witness, and be a witness to what I do in this fucking resistance of history, because I am just making a history and I am making a ministry. It might not be the one that you wanted to hear because you're used to hearing shit that is just not even worth listening to. Like you're listening to the shit that's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to rhyme very well. I'm just going to keep it simple, and then you're just going to go to hell. That's the type of rhymes that you hear from motherfuckers on the radio. They don't say anything great, but all they do is give you verbal fellatio. They make you hear what you want to hear. That, oh my god, they're so bad at rapping that it's so easy that I think I can do it too. To people that don't even rap, it don't have any musical bone in their bodies. So that's what they do, and then they follow through with that line of thinking. And then I guess what? Another rhyme I'm thinking is going to get me to, accidentally, start blindly thinking of ways that I can just beat motherfuckers' asses, and that's what happens when I'm rapping. It's one of those things I just want to fucking disembowel these motherfuckers, and then I'll come up with a new vowel. Like it's this one of the things I do is because Adam Stark will ruin fools, and I'm just dropping jewels. And if I switch the vowels on, say, a dropping jewels, then I'm dropping jaw will get broken when I fucking punch it, because jewel and jowl, I just switched the vowels on that, and then guess what, I came up with a new way to say it, because Adam Stark allows those things to happen when he rhymes, because when he's rapping it's a crime, because anybody else trying to make an infraction compared to mine is going to get their asses beat so fucking fast that it will be rewinding looking like it looks, because it was so fast that you couldn't believe it, because you just like, holy shit, he just did that, such a quick action, and then you wanted to get a reaction, then you look at what a fucking piece of shit dick action. Did you see that? Because a dick, not as a part as a privacy part, but a dick in the form of it being, oh my god, how could he do that? That was so hurtful. That was an asshole move to do that, because what I'm saying is dick isn't saying something that was mean to say. I didn't mean that in a penis way, because you thought it did, because if you did, then you just misheard me and misrepresented what I was saying, because everything can mean multiple things. That's what you learn from our slang in this game of hip-hop, and it's a game to me. If it's not a game to you, that's okay with me, but understand that I am not saying this playfully. I beat everyone's ass with lyrics on the mic, because, number one is what I aim to be. So, shout out to y'all. Just wanted to freestyle, and keep it real, y'all.